Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Voices for Change 2.0, the only podcast that focuses on mental health while mixing in movies, music, books, sports, and pop culture. Here are your hosts, Rebecca and Joe Lombardo.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us here at Voices for Change 2.0.
Yeah, good morning. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for giving us a listen there. We do appreciate it very much as we're halfway through June this morning. How's that for a
that's
kick
crazy.
in the, I know. This year is flying by.
And we haven't gotten any yard work done.
I've mowed.
Well.
But no, yeah, the yard looks like a train wreck. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm gonna go out on a limb and blame the weather this year.
Yeah, you know what? You're not wrong there.
Yeah, it's
been raining constantly.
Constant rain. We still don't have our roof fixed because of the weather, which I'm a little concerned about that. It's been dry enough for me to get out there and mow a couple of times, and that's about it. Anything above and beyond that, like actually, you know, yanking weeds and whatnot, you know, no,
there.
They're there. They're just, every time I walk by them, they're, you know, So
let's talk about our exciting news that we've got coming up this month.
Well, before we do that, I want to say one thing, because we, you know, our little intro talks about how we talk about pop culture and movies and music and sports and all that, and we never actually talk about sports.
Yeah, no, we don't talk about sports that much because there isn't a lot to talk about right now.
Well, I just really quick want to give a shout out to the St. Louis Blues for winning the Stanley Cup.
Oh, why would you do that?
Because it's the first time in franchise history. You know, that's history.
Don't get us wrong. We're Red Wings fans.
We're
all the way.
Red Wings fans through and through, but you know, we're also hockey fans, and I can appreciate the St. Louis Blues winning the cup. And not to knock any of our friends in Boston, but that means that you didn't get to win a third sporting championship in the course of a year. You know, good on you for the Red Sox and the Patriots, but
no, Patriots, boo.
But you know, you gotta be kind. But
not when it comes to the Patriots.
Yes, dear. I know of your distaste for Tom Brady. But yeah, so good on you for St. Louis Blues for winning the cup, and congrats to the Toronto Raptors for winning the NBA championship.
Yeah.
So
first time ever for
Toronto, them too.
You know, yeah. So way to go there.
Yeah.
Had a little bit of a celebration I saw online.
Way to go, eh?
Standing on cars and throwing stuff. When did that become a thing?
Years ago. It happened years ago, babe. You know.
We won something. Let's go jump on cars.
Let's go trash the city. We won. This is apparently a thing. I don't know why, but I mean, it happened here in '84 when the Tigers won. So, you know.
My parents probably shielded me from that.
Yeah, they.
I know we watched the game, but I don't think we watched any of the celebrations afterwards.
Yeah, sorry about all the paper shuffling there. We're an active show is what we are.
Yeah.
And right now we have to be.
Don't have much choice.
Yep. Or in our case, room on the desk. So it happened.
Yep. So.
Live radio, people.
So our exciting news for the end of the month is that we have been invited by a company by the name of Kindred, and they're a relatively new company. And they've invited us to a mental health conference where we'll get to meet a whole bunch of other mental health advocates, and, you know, there's going to be speeches and, you know, different types of things to go to, and it's at this resort called the Ranch in Laguna Beach. Yeah. And I've seen the website, and it's gorgeous. It looks really, really pretty, and there's a whole lot of stuff that we're going to get done, and we're going the 24th through the 26th, and there's a lot of stuff to get done in those 3 days.
Yeah.
But it's my first time actually staying in California. I was there one time as a layover, think, to go to Hawaii, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But
yeah, so you didn't really get to explore. And for me, it's my first time since 2000. So 19 years since I've been out there. I used to have a family that lived out there that we would go and see before they moved to Vegas. And, you know, I used to love it. You know, my folks and I would actually take a couple of weeks. We would drive across country and hang out there for a week and then drive back. And, you know, that's back in the days when you did that kind of thing, because I'm old now. But yeah, it was awesome. You know, my cousin used to live in North Hollywood, and you know, we'd go to Universal Studios, and one time we drove down to Disneyland, and you know, just saw everything. I even went to the Guitar Center in Hollywood.
Oh, good Lord.
Yeah, it was cool.
So they have different guitars there?
It was big. That thing was huge. And the coolest part is they've got this thing called the Hollywood Rock Walk. And it's kind of like the Chinese theater with the hands in the cement and everything, except it was all rock stars. So I got to put my hands in Eddie Van Halen's hands, and it was really cool, except his pinky on his left hand stretches way far.
Probably too much information, honey.
Yeah, but otherwise we had the same size hands, which was encouraging for me. So yeah, it was pretty cool. So I'm excited to get back out there. You know, just I've always loved LA ever since I was a little kid watching Chips. And for you young whippersnappers, it was a show in the 70s about a couple of California Highway Patrol officers. So
it was on in the 80s too.
Barely. But its heyday was the 70s.
Yeah.
You know, that
was a good show.
That was 70s-tastic is what it was.
That was a good show.
With Mr. Eric Estrada.
And his teeth.
And
what was the other guy's name?
I only remember the character's name, John. I couldn't tell you.
Ponch and John.
Ponch and John, yeah. I couldn't begin to tell you what his name in real life was.
Yeah, I don't remember either.
I want to say it was Larry Wilcox, but I'm not positive.
Maybe.
So
we'll Google that later.
Here's an odd little side note. Their boss on the show is Chris Pine's dad. Yeah.
I can't picture him, but.
Yep, I don't remember his name either, but yeah, he was the guy in charge of all the California highway troopers, and yeah, that's Chris Pine's dad. So.
That's interesting.
That's something. See, you get nuggets of information on this show.
Absolutely.
It's not just, you know, ridiculousness. Although right now it's ridiculousness.
It's a little ridiculous right now. Yeah, we just our guest has not called in yet, which is a little disconcerting. Our producer is trying to get a hold of her right now, so that's why we are sort of filling in the negative space.
Yes.
So if you're into TV shows that, you know, it's a series on Hulu, that I will warn you, there is violence, there is sexual content, a lot of it. There's abuse, but
it can be triggering.
Yeah, it can definitely be a triggering thing. Although I have not gotten triggered while watching the show, and I get triggered pretty easily. But it's called Handmaid's Tale, and it's about a book that came out. It's based on a book that came out in the 80s. And it's about this made-up country called Gilead, where I guess over time, with the pollution and the birth control and just all these things, women became infertile. And so the amount of babies that were being had greatly decreased from, you know, thousands to like one in a year.
Should we say spoiler alert?
No. So, anyway, they create this like fleet of women called handmaids that can still give birth to children, and they have to give birth for the like rich and wealthy in Gilead. And it's a very, very interesting show. I got into it a couple of years back when it first came out because I worked at Borders, and the book was popular for some reason when I was there. So it's really good. It's on Hulu. Hulu's like $5.99 a month to get the subscription. And I'll get off my soapbox.
There wasn't really much of a soapbox. Here's getting on your soapbox. If you're concerned about what's going on these days, like with, women's rights and all sorts of different things, this is a show that you need to watch because it went from being a what if to being a holy shnikes, this could happen kind of thing, and that's kind of terrifying. And I was reluctant to get into the show at first, and then when I finally did, I'm like, wow, okay, yeah, and it's really got my political fires stoked. So there's that.
Yeah.
We're gonna cut that part of the conversation short because we've got our guest.
Yes, our guest is here.
Yay!
And I will admit that I don't know her as well as some of our other guests. She is on Instagram quite a bit. She's on Twitter quite a bit, and she's been working really hard to get her screenplay out and about. And we're excited to talk to her about that because, frankly, I've read the description on it, and I'm really interested. I think it's going to be really, really good. And, she's just working very hard, and we're very glad to get the opportunity to talk to her today after, everything she went through to get to this point.
Mm-hmm.
So let's introduce our guest to the audience, Natalie Rodriguez.
Hi. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Good morning. Good morning from here.
Good morning. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you. Thanks for having me. Really excited to be on the podcast. We have a lot of mutual colleagues. I believe that's how I think our names might have been. We might have heard of each other before. I had Rudy from the Mighty. I met him through Twitter about a year or two ago.
Oh, did you say Rudy?
Yeah, Rudy.
Yeah, Rudy. Yeah, we know him very well.
We love us some Rudy.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. He's a little bit of all right. He's been with us 6 times?
I don't even know now.
I lost track. I'm pretty sure he's been on the show. It's either 4 times or 6 times. I don't want to undercut him. I'm pretty sure it was 6.
Yeah, and we're going to have him again in July. So.
Yeah. Yeah, we have to get him a special sports coat for it.
Yeah, we're going to get him a jacket.
Yeah.
No, definitely think it's a good idea. It's what did they call it? The club. I think SNL or something does that, Club 5, if you've been on the show 5 times or more.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what we're going to have to do.
That's what we're going to have to do with him. So he's a character, but we love him.
That's a good idea. I definitely been a fan of your work. I think you sent me your Facebook link a while ago, and I think I was just checking out your previous work and definitely a little bit of background on both of you, and I think it's just amazing what you're both doing. I think it's definitely have always loved other individuals who speak about mental health or just health in general, and kind of that echoing voice with hey, it's okay to talk about this, other people can relate to what you're feeling or what you're going through.
Well, thanks.
Yeah,
that means a lot to us. Beck's definitely been out there with everything a lot longer than I have. I'm more just the hanger-on. But
I had to teach him Facebook and Twitter.
Yeah. Especially Twitter. I now I get it, but it's still there. I understand people's confusion.
Oh yeah, so do I. I was on it for 3 years before I absolutely understood what was happening.
Yeah. No, I think Twitter was one of those accounts. I think it came out ahead of its time, because I had an account I think 2 years prior, and then I tried to make a new one or tried to make an account. I realized I already had one set up. I think it's one of those, everyone just kind of made it, and then they forgot they made an account until I think it became a little more necessary for work related, or friends are starting to join it. Yeah.
For me, it's my political outlet. I don't post much political stuff on Facebook anymore because, I got tired of alienating people I cared about. So Twitter's perfect for that, and I can, do things like tweet to Mitch McConnell telling him to do his job and stuff, and
Let's not.
That's fun. I just use that as an example, honey, because I did that this morning.
I don't like politics.
Yeah, she doesn't.
And I don't like it discussed on our show. So.
Yes, dear.
Yeah, there's a hitter. I totally get Facebook. I have friends on Facebook who've been, they said they've been blocked by relatives or friends because they post political topics or just their thoughts or their views on what their beliefs are. And I just get if I say political comments, sometimes I'll like run or scroll through there. Sometimes I'm I'll slowly scroll back up, and I'm curious what's going on in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard because I'll see political stuff on Facebook and really, really have to bite my tongue sometimes. Sometimes it's not. I don't have to. Sometimes it's okay, and that's cool. They feel that way, and I can agree with that. And then other times it's or stop watching Fox News or what have you.
Yeah.
I'm very liberal, if you haven't picked up on that. So, that's just me. But anyway.
Yeah, this is good. Facebook's an interesting source now. I think it is politics. It's becoming very political.
We have a whole bunch of questions that we want to ask you, lady.
Yeah, as long as you don't have any questions for us first.
Definitely. Well, how's your both morning going? It's been I think 80, 90 degrees over here, and it's only 8:15.
Where are you? Oh, okay, you're in California. Yeah. So right now our producer's in California too. Scott's there, vacating, if you will.
Oh, okay.
Sort of a vacation, sort of a working vacation, I would say.
Yeah. So, and we're gonna be there on the 24th.
Oh, you are. You're coming out this way.
Yeah, we're gonna be in Laguna Beach. Yeah, for a couple of days. We got invited to a conference, and we're very excited.
Yeah, no, Laguna Beach is a beautiful city. You'll enjoy it. If you haven't been before.
Nope.
Yeah, no, I've not. I've been to North Hollywood. I've been down to Disneyland. I've been a few various places in Northern California, but not Laguna Beach. So excited for it.
Oh, nice.
So,
that's exciting.
Yeah.
Love to hear your questions. Definitely. Go ahead. I mean, I definitely don't want to take up more of your time. I think of the political Facebook, it's interesting to talk about sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I ever do a political podcast thing, I would love to talk with you about that.
Definitely.
I would enjoy doing that, and probably also have a coronary for stuff. But so that being said, the first question we got is, where does your mental health journey begin?
Yeah. Gosh, I was asked that not too long ago. I was at a panel last weekend, actually a week ago from today. I think that once it started, I think it was 2015, 2016, I was discovering a lot of mental health nonprofit groups or advocates who are becoming, I think, a little more social influencer based on Instagram. And that was from I think other companies a little more corporate-y, I think Jet or another, I think Love is Louder. They started promoting a lot of new advocates or new nonprofit groups. So one of the kind of Instagram follow and search got me in contact with a colleague of mine who was running a mental health organization over in Wisconsin. And that one was Defeat the Stigma at the time. And I think he was looking for bloggers, and one of those things where we connected, I think it was the Instagram direct message. And he asked, I saw you wrote something about, I've read an article about kind of wellness and tips college students can do to take care of themselves during exam week, during, that last year of college. And he asked if I can write something regarding mental health. He's like, I read it, and it sounds like you have some experience with anxiety. He's like, would you be comfortable if you wrote kind of more of a personal blog, from the standpoint of I have anxiety, this is what I do to treat it, or this is what I'm trying to like do to maintain it and manage it. So I think that sort of took off. He featured me on his blog, and I think he gave me like a Facebook shout out. So that kind of got me like more on the writer side. While I was like in between like working different jobs, I was always like kind of like freelance writing, and it was just kind of amazing how a lot of companies or nonprofit groups were starting to promote around that same time, how they're looking for bloggers or writers or people just to like share their story. So I think that kind of started with, I think he started to speak about like mental health, but like having anxiety and like slight depression started when I was about maybe like 8 or 9, but I didn't know that until like years later. I think once I got it to counseling and started talking about symptoms I had, just because my symptoms with anxiety had varied. I want to say from the time I was 8 to even today.
Okay. Yeah, and that kind of falls in line with, you know, a lot of the people that we've talked to. You know, they either figure out that they're dealing with something through the course of their teens, which I kind of chalk up to, you know, at least partly puberty setting in, and you're confronted with all this new stuff, or even earlier, like you mentioned, 8 or 9 years old, and not understanding what's going on with it yet.
Yeah.
You know, you're at that age where you're starting to understand more in the world, and you know your body is starting to go through all of these different changes, and you know if you can go through physical changes, why can't your brain go through changes as well? You know, and you know maybe you're confronted with you know anxieties that you didn't have before, and it kind of develops from there. Or, you know, just different things like that. So that you know completely makes sense. Yeah.
And I think, symptoms, I never kind of understood, too, just how symptoms can change. So I think as a kid, I used to get, like, a lot of, like, common colds or fevers or a lot of stomach aches. So I didn't know through, I do cognitive behavioral therapy today. I think when I started explaining the symptoms more to my counselor about, I think it was like 2 months ago, it's like still earlier this year, she, I think, simply told me, oh, no, that was like anxiety, that was a panic attack. She's like, said that you were getting them frequent. It was just kind of like you know, I got sick because a relative was sick at, you know, Thanksgiving or Christmas, when I think usually like a lot of like flus or colds kind of like go around the holiday time. That kind of actually, that more like intrigued me, I think, when I heard that, and that kind of made me want to know more like about symptoms. And I started talking about symptoms in counseling a little bit, kind of, I think, kind of separate like what's anxiety or what's, no, you're just actually like, you know, you really do have a cold this time. So it's amazing just kind of how, I think over the past few years I've been learning so much about the body, or just both physically and then like mentally, and kind of, I mean, it's so powerful. I mean, if your body's not feeling well, it's amazing what it could do just to like let you know, hey, you need to stop and get help, or hey, you need to sit down and step away. And a lot of that I think I learned was through college, taking, you know, a bunch of units and classes, and I work in the entertainment industry, so that, you know, definitely a lot of times you're on the go, or sometimes you're working multiple jobs at once, just because a lot of jobs are gigs, so they're either short-term positions or sometimes they're part-time. So I definitely, I think, learned a lot with trying to like manage anxiety. So it's been, it's a lot more manageable now, but I think my earlier 20s or late teens, it was so like just scary time, like not knowing. Honestly, I think that saying, like seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, I was like, I don't know how it's going to be possible to function. I used to kind of convince myself I can't function in a quote-unquote normal setting with high anxiety, or, you know, that was like ruin my life for like a good like year or two.
Yeah, you know, anxiety can be crippling, for sure.
Yeah. Are you on medication for anxiety now?
I'm not. I revisit that topic a lot of times in counseling. It's something I'm actually thinking about doing from time to time. I've never tried it, but a lot of it's because I've been to a psychologist which I didn't know that I learned as well when I first started going to counseling, psychologists and psychiatrists. I thought I had originally went to a psychiatrist until I show up my first day, and the counselor's like, no, I'm a psychologist. Like, you might have got like misinformed. Yeah, so I wanted to revisit that because I've had a close friend mention that to me before about how they take medication. They said it's had a positive impact on them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it helps. You know, I've got a fair bit of anxiety myself, and for the most part, I think I've got it pretty well on lockdown. But every so often, I've got to take a Xanax to help me kind of chill out if it gets the better of me, and it helps. I mean, it actually helps just knowing I've got it if I do need it. And you know, again, I don't take it. If I take it once a month, that's a lot. Okay, so I don't take it very often, but I take it when I need it, you know, or if I'm going through stuff and I don't realize, you know, Beck will even say to me, hey, you maybe want to take a Xanax and kind of relax a little bit. You know, and it's funny that I wanted to mention this really quick because you had brought this up about, you know, like stomach aches and stuff, and I've actually seen there's an article popping around online where, you know, it says, you know, kids won't ever say they've got anxiety. They'll say, well, I have a stomach ache. You know?
Yeah, for me, it was always a stomach ache and a headache.
Yeah. You know.
All through childhood, and none of us knew that I was just freaking out about going to school.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, that's interesting because I haven't seen that one yet. I'll definitely have to take a look because I see more articles like pop up on Facebook or even Twitter. Twitter's starting to do a lot of kind of more global or international breaking news versus just like kind of more the lifestyle celebrity based pieces. But I did see on both Twitter and Facebook like maybe 3 weeks ago how I think they're saying like 80% of like I think it's kids to like ages I think 15 have a panic disorder or have higher anxiety than I think most other age groups, and they said it's the U.S. where it's like the highest. So I thought that was very, I mean, sad to see, but I also think I kind of when I was reading, I'm like, well, I think this has been like ongoing. Just I think now, kind of like you mentioned, people are understanding like, oh, this is like children having panic attacks or they're depressed, but it's not really coming up as a symptom that's maybe most commonly seen. It's more like the stomach aches or maybe possibly like the headaches. They're kind of affiliated with, oh, this is like a child or teen coming towards us or coming to us saying, hey, like I'm not feeling well, but it's not because I'm sick. It's, you know, I'm feeling anxious or I'm feeling like depressed about something. So I think that's definitely have to look more into that because I haven't seen that article yet, but I've just seen more of the, I think just how it's just going up. I think just kind of more like the youth kind of are having like a higher anxiety, and I think it's sad to see. It always makes me bummed out to see because I think that it's like subconsciously I know like that's not a surprise. Just because I think like you mentioned earlier, like your body's going through so many changes, and I do think like hormones have to play into it too. It's kind of it's not shocking that like it does create a lot of like thoughts or feelings for someone at that age, especially I think today. I feel like life's sometimes harder than it was like, you know, 5-10 years ago.
Oh yeah, absolutely it is.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
You know, we're actually cruising along on the show here. It's almost half over already. We're gonna take a quick break. So you sit tight, Natalie, and everybody else, you're gonna be listening to For You from Brandon Stansel. Sit tight, and we'll see you guys on the other side.
When I begin to spin in the quicksand, I can't run. It's gonna be alright. It's gonna be alright. I push and pull with all my might, but it feels like it's not enough. It's gonna be alright. You make me feel alright. In moments and seasons, we're caught in the deep end, yeah. I need a hand to hold me. Love me like you know me. When it's hard, just breathe in. Be bitter, but you made me better now. There's something about your style, like I'm gonna stay a while. No longer searching, feels good to figure out that it's gonna be alright. Come take my hand, let's ride. And moments and seasons we're caught in the deep end, yeah. I need a hand to hold me, love me like you know me. When it's hard just breathing, you keep my heart beating. Love looked like falling every day till I fell for you. You got me finally feeling emotion. Lost in the moment, don't know where it's going. It's hard just breathing, you keep my heart beating. Love looks like falling every day till I fell for you. Feel our feet rising off the ground. We ain't coming down, we're reckless, abandoned. No sign of landing. So high up, yeah, we're touching clouds. Never coming down, just you and me, darling. My kind of falling. You got me finally feeling emotion. Lost in the moment, don't know where it's going. You got me finally feeling emotion. Lost in the moment, don't know where it's going. It's hard just breathing. When you keep my heart beating. Love looks like falling every day till I fell for you. You got me finally feeling emotion. Feeling emotion. Lost in the moment, don't know where it's going. It's hard just breathing. You keep my heart beating. Love looks like falling every day till I fell for you.
Hey, welcome back to Voices for Change 2.0. I'm Joe. She's Rebecca. On the line, we're talking to the wonderful, lovely, and talented Natalie Rodriguez.
Hi.
You can tell that my husband watched a lot of Lawrence Welk growing up.
What? Hey, why has it got to be Lawrence Welk? why you got to go there? Why has it got to be that? I did watch a lot of Lawrence Welk growing up. My folks were old. Okay, what do you want me to tell you? And apparently wanting to chime in too is our cat Haley. Hi, baby boos. Hi.
Oh,
Did you hear?
I didn't hear. Oh, now I hear. Yeah, I have right before I called my cat, I was trying to look for him. I have a 7-year-old cat. I guess he hides like under my shoes now because he just bolted out as soon as I closed my door, just so I had more privacy to speak with you both. But yeah, no, cats are. Yeah, my cat's he's one of those. He's not the snugglers. He likes to do laps around the house like every 2 hours, 3 hours.
Having crazy.
Yeah.
Haley is turning 18 this year, and yeah, and she's been sick the last couple of months on and off, and she's just gotten really, really needy, and so she felt the need to crawl into Beck's arms now. So now Beck's holding her and getting kisses.
Yeah, we have 3 cats. The other 2 are not quite so needy.
Yeah, well,
the youngest especially is very independent.
Yeah, the youngest is very independent. Bubba is my cat, and he's either on his own or he's sitting there on top of my chest, and it's
yeah,
cute.
That's about right.
Yeah, it's cute, but he's heavier than I don't know what,
Yeah.
an anchor. It's like having an anchor on your chest.
I think Maddie, my cat, he's a boy. Gosh, I think he's like 15 pounds now, 15, 16. He just keeps growing, but he's stretching. For a little bit, he was kind of like wasn't stretching. He was gaining weight. Now he's sort of filling out. But he's heavy. I think just to pick him up, like I've dropped him like once or twice because I think he was heavier than expected.
Yeah. Cats are good. So, when did you realize that you had a talent for writing?
Oh, I always say writing. I was just kind of secretly doing that, and it was kind of almost like my way of, I think, like just journaling or like kind of you're doing your like day-to-day like diary entry, but it was kind of always like a third person. But I think I want to say definitely passion about writing. It was after 5th grade, so I was about like 11 years old, and we had to do this school project. I went to a school in Diamond Bar. It was called Cole Summit Elementary, and each year the school annually does a project for the entire student body where each student has to write a short story and make that short story into an actual book. So it's kind of like an arts and crafts project, like regarding like the writing side, and that horrified me at first. I was like, I hate books. Why would I write something that's dumb? And I think my teacher saw me during one class day just sitting there. She's like, hey, I need you to like make it look like you're working. She's like, pretend you look busy. She's like, I don't want you to sit there. So that kind of was, I kind of felt that was like a small, as cliche as it is, I guess, calling, because I was so against the project, but it ended up being like the best experience. I think I experienced like in childhood. I just was like excited to go home every day to like work on the project, and I was always like drawing as a kid, so I was like, oh, this is cool. I get to like draw. I'm gonna draw like some new characters, and or I'm gonna draw this character I've always been drawing. So I think that definitely when that started, and that kind of continued throughout middle school and then high school, especially because high school, of course, I think it's your sophomore year. Your guidance counselor usually asks, what do you want to do for the rest of your life? And you're like, oh, I actually get to like finally say, put into words, or the guidance counselor will kind of help you, like, I guess, kind of steer you towards the path that it seems like you're interested in. So yeah, definitely post elementary. I mean, that was kind of where it started. I think just writing, and definitely picked up my literature. We had to read, ironically, at 5th grade, we also had to read like books on our downtime for, of course, school projects, assignments. So 5th grade was kind of like a big turning point, I think, with hobbies I never thought I'd be doing today even.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah,
you know,
very cool.
Kind of similar to
That's what school's
Beck.
for, you know? It's supposed to, you know, get the creative juices going.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm 45 and I still don't know what I want to do when I grow up. So I'm a little stuck. So
It's normal. I think goals change, especially too, or they kind of evolve. Because I always kind of just wanted to write. I was like just gonna write and read and be kind of like isolated. I think that was always kind of like, because of like having anxiety, it kind of felt like I couldn't function around like other people, because I'm like, oh, they can't understand what's going through my head. So I think that kind of writing was kind of like the safety net. Like it made me feel like that was where I was able to kind of like voice how I was feeling, or kind of like, you know, made me feel like I had friends, because I was writing like the book in 5th grade where main cast was like children my age, so it kind of felt like a weird friends I never had kind of thing. Yeah.
All right. Well, talk to us. You know, the reason that we're here really is to talk to you about your screenplay. So tell us about that and what it's about.
Yeah, and this one is The Extraordinary Ordinary. I actually are wrapping up post-production on it, so we filmed it last year. But I know it was a screenplay I didn't mention. It was a screenplay that I kind of was kind of like shopping around, or just like passed on to family and friends for a few years before I kind of got up and decided to do like the film work, like on set. But it's a story about 3 young adults and how they cope with their mental health when old wounds resurface. And this follows like the journey of a college student who moves from the East Coast to the West Coast for college. She's out on her own for the first time, and this is after going to years of counseling, being homeschooled after she experienced a traumatic incident in high school. So it's sort of through like her transition from leaving the nest, where she kind of her only friends are her mom and dad. She kind of butts heads with her mom at home. She gets to finally like be out sort of in the real world, like she never had that experience, and she meets 2 other individuals who share a similar history with her, but they kind of cope with it in different ways. One's a little bit more extroverted. She can go and talk to anyone and kind of befriend, anyone wherever she goes. Another is kind of a little bit more like the mediator. He'll sort of like be like the listener. He'll kind of be the friend who approaches you and asks, hey, okay, let's talk. So it's kind of through these two friendships that the main character builds along the way that kind of makes her see like, hey, other people are experiencing what I'm feeling. But, oh, that's cool. I want to be just like them because they're a little bit more, they act, quote, unquote, normal. And I can't tell, like, they have, like, a history with a mental health disorder. And that kind of, script, I started writing that, I want to say, towards the end of high school. And then I actually got to finish the script, my first screening class in college, back in, 2013, as junior year of college.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's exciting. So that actually kind of answers our next question, which was
nice.
how long did it take you to write your screenplay?
Yeah.
So you worked out over the course of a few years, and that's it sounds like, well, honestly, I'd like to see it. It sounds really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No,
it's one of those scripts that I'm sure, I think you both have heard. I think it's with any content being written or before it's like filmed. It was like a script that I was originally just wanting to just stick on as a writer. Like, I never thought, honestly, I know it's so cliche to say, I never in a million years thought I'm going to get up and like produce it and direct it. I was just like, that was out of the question. I think a lot had to do with because it was like that passion project, like my baby. I was like always like cradling it, always like coming back to the script. No matter like how many projects I was moving forward with, I'd always have in the back of my mind this one, The Extraordinary Ordinary. So I think it was college when I was ironically writing a later draft of it. That was when I started experiencing, I kind of felt like that was the first time I was experiencing a panic attack. But then I realized my anxiety was just coming, years later I found out it was just coming like back in different forms, and I was burning out from school. I think I was taking like 6 to 7 classes at the time, and that was in addition to like writing multiple screenplays, because kind of the screenwriting classes would have you do the classwork, regular homework, and then you had to like bring in kind of like a script, so pages of screenplays you were working on. And I think my junior year that kind of ironically put the test to my health. I was not listening to my body. That's how I got kind of like my anxiety just got like, I felt like literally out of control, where I felt like, to be honest, I was like losing my mind like after my first semester junior year. So I was it was like ironic timing. I think that's why the project became more kind of, I did like a lot of more rewrites and a lot of, I think it started to click, like the aha moment, like, oh, now I understand the story because of, I think, what I was going through personally at the time. But yeah, it's kind of been a long journey, but we just found out too last week, we're going to be making our world premiere at the Los Angeles Diversity Film Festival in August. So really excited about that, because I think usually it's rare for film festivals to accept projects that are usually work in progress. The kind of beauty with feature films nowadays, or films kind of in general, or film festivals are becoming a little bit more understanding that projects are either being self-funded, or sometimes the filmmaker themselves are still kind of making like final tweaks and changes to like the film and post-production. So really excited. It's tiring. I've been like, I want to go on vacation afterwards. But it's definitely one of my, I think, projects I'm really proud of, and I think it's one of those things, like, I'm kind of looking at now, oh, there's a reason why it got rejected by this person or by this fest, or why, it didn't happen, I guess, sooner than later, because I used to kind of get hard on myself about that for a while with, oh, it's getting turned down, it must mean it's not good, maybe I'm not good. So I think a lot of that had to do with, I think the higher anxiety I had while in college, it kind of brought on, like, a lot of, like, I guess I want to say, like, negative thoughts. Like, I just kind of wasn't thinking highly of myself at the time, or was kind of feeling, like, unhappy, or, like, I think the more, like, I was able to get certain projects made, including this one.
Go ahead, honey. You're sitting there looking at me like you got something to say.
No, I'm good. I was just listening to what Natalie was saying and kind of taking it in. So, yeah. I think it's exciting that you're getting to premiere at a
film festival.
Well, a diversity film festival. I think that's really cool. Because it helps draw attention. Even more than if it were like something like Tribeca or Sundance, where there's so many films that are from everybody about all these broad spectrums. At least this way it's a little more focused. Yeah. And I think that's really cool.
Yeah, definitely.
That's kind of the beauty of it too. Because I think I don't know if I mentioned. I think it's so interesting too, because with kind of making the film, I think the more I was getting closer to production last year, we shot last May in 2018, I was getting like a lot of weird comments. It was like, and it's interesting because I didn't realize how much mental health, I think just the topic can sometimes bring up race. So I'm Hispanic, mom's side, Mexican, dad's side Spanish, German, and I think there's like 5-10% French on their side. So I kind of always grew up where mental health wasn't talked about. It's like some family members are like, oh, don't go to the doctors, just take this tea, drink this tea as your home remedy to cure what you're feeling. So I think I noticed, I experienced that too with the film. It was like it was kind of like, oh, you're Hispanic, why would you write this kind of content? Or you're Hispanic, aren't you gonna write something about like Spanish speaking? So it's kind of it was kind of jarring to me at first, but I think that's what's beautiful about something like the Los Angeles Diversity Film Festival is they are recognizing stories for stories, not on like, oh, like she's Hispanic and she didn't write anything Hispanic related. They kind of more say, no, like you're big. I think what the Courtney told me last week in the email, she's like, we like that you read about a very kind of like a global and even international topic, and we love that we see different faces. She's like, it kind of shows like that's the reality with, not just certain ages or ethnicities, have an anxiety disorder or just going through like a difficult time due to a situation in their life. So it's kind of, I think that's also been something I've learned over time with making the film. It was kind of like how the world is viewing mental health, and especially who they affiliated with, from gender to age to one's ethnicity.
Yeah, I think that it's awesome that you were able to fight. It's a different kind of stigma. Where instead of it's a stigma against mental health, it's a stigma on, well, you're Hispanic. Why aren't you writing something along those lines, or doing this or doing that? And it's like, well, no, this subject is a broader subject than race or gender or anything like that. So good on you. That's right on, man. That's great.
I mean, I used to take it personal though. I think like anyone, I was just like, that is so mean. Especially I think when I first heard this in college. Not that it's funny, but I think like now looking back, a lot of me's like, well, I think anyone who makes a comment like that, it's just they don't. I think because I always affiliate with like they just never experienced, I think, possibly anxiety or something where the anxiety seems a little bit more abnormal versus, oh, they're just feeling anxious because they're about to give a speech or they're about to take a big exam. Because like today, I think with like mental health, I've been learning too, like you can feel things in your life can seem completely quote unquote like at a good place, and then you still find yourself having an anxiety attack. And then that's where I'm kind of at right now with life. It's there's been like positive things going on, but then it will still sometimes like set off my anxiety. And it's kind of more when I'm getting a panic attack, it's kind of, sometimes I'll get irritated. I'll be like, oh man, not again. Like, okay. And I'll just be like, sit it out. So that's why I think I definitely started incorporating a lot of, I think going through counseling. I've been going weekly again for about 3 months, and I found it so helpful because it kind of just, I think it's just one of those check-ins, making sure like I'm coping with things that are coming up in life, or if something happens that I'm not really like ignoring it and I'm trying to like work through it. So that's where it's interesting because I never had that experience before where if things seem like on a positive note, you know, you still like can be. I think the other day I was at a movie this past weekend and I was having like an anxiety attack and I was like, oh, this like is horrible. The movie hasn't started. So I think what kind of helps is definitely the self-talk, or worst case, I'd have to get up and leave the setting to kind of calm down. Or sometimes like I'll reach out to my therapist saying, hey, I need to come in because I've experienced like high anxiety. Can I come in tomorrow? So that's been kind of helpful to cope with my mental health, is kind of knowing like I live close enough to like my counselor, or half the times I have reached out to her saying like, hey, I need to come in like ASAP. She's definitely like, yeah, come in like tomorrow, or you know, if I can't work in today, or if I can't, can we talk on the phone, and if you really have to come in, we'll schedule you. So it's kind of always helped to have in the back of my mind. It's like kind of like that safety net, and kind of makes me feel like reassurance if it seems anxiety like seems higher than usual, and especially out of the blue.
Yeah, it helps having somebody like that, you know, a counselor or doctor or something that, you know you can is your go-to. You know, you've got that person that, you know, it's kind of like a safety blanket, but it's, you know, it's a good safety blanket, you know.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Definitely is. So I think that's kind of, that's kind of been the journey, both with personal life and with kind of like the film life. So I think another thing too with mental health, I used to have this thought like, oh, people in the entertainment industry don't have anxiety. I don't know why I was like thinking that for a while, until I think the first time I went to a counselor, it was like 2-3 months after that one semester I was having, where I was writing the script, The Extraordinary, the later draft, and I was starting to experience high anxiety. And I think when I went to my counselor, she was like, oh no, she's like, half my clients who come to me are pursuing entertainment. So I was like, oh, okay, like, so I'm not alone. Okay, so this is common in my field. And I think around that same time, I got offered my first internship, which was at the Conan O'Brien show. And I think that kind of, once I got some like opportunity offers like that, it sort of made me, I think, kind of confront my worst fear, which was like, oh, okay, so, you know, this is opportunity I shouldn't say no to because I'm having anxiety. I need to like figure this out and kind of work through it. So I actually was doing like 4 or 5 months of counseling until I actually started my internship with Conan, because that was the first time I moved out part-time on my own. So it felt like a lot of like big, scary, like adult things that were going on at the time when I was like 18, 19. So yeah, definitely, I think that kind of work sort of like, I don't say forced me, but I think it definitely motivated and encouraged me to kind of like check in there, like, well, I can't say no to this opportunity. It seems like a positive experience. I need to like go and maybe like check in with myself, kind of like start taking care of myself better, get enough sleep, go on walks. I mean, walks have been one of the best like I think physical activities that has helped me cope with anxiety, or even just feeling like overwhelmed. So definitely, I think work it's been more of like a positive experience, because it kind of, through work, and I was kind of coming through college classes, it kind of made me like a wake up call, kind of made me realize like what's unhealthy versus what's healthy, especially with entertainment. I think you can get lost in, I think, the workaholic mode, and you know, there's still people in entertainment who'll say, oh, you're depressed, oh, you're feeling sad, you know, just write about it, put in your work. And you're kind of like, well, no, like, nothing wrong with that, but, you know, you also want to deal with it outside kind of the work. You don't want to just work. Just because I've learned that that doesn't do any good. It just, I think, eventually leads to more, I think, burnouts, or where it can like start affecting your mental health even more if you're not really checking in with yourself.
Yeah. It you know, you have to try and strike that balance. You know, I mean, sometimes it is awesome to take that and put it into, you know, what you're working on. You know, I've done it with music before. Beck's done it with her writing too. You know, but sometimes you have to disconnect and find other outlets besides, because otherwise you'll burn out, and you know, then you're no good to anybody.
Yeah.
Well,
we actually have unfortunately come to the finish line here.
Yeah, it was quick.
Yeah, it went by really fast. We've really enjoyed talking to you, so we hate to cut it off,
Yeah.
but it's an hour show.
Yeah, no worries.
So really quick, why don't you give out your social media where people can find you online in case they want to talk to you.
Yes. So I have 2 different accounts. If anyone who's listening, especially if family, friends, definitely you can follow up with my work at Nat Christine Rods. That's NATCHRISTINE and an ROD. Or if you want to strictly kind of keep tabs on with the feature film on The Extraordinary Ordinary, you can follow the social pages, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, which is going to be at The Extra Ord Film. And yeah, we're starting to post a little bit more just because I think with the screener coming up. So you'll see a little bit more about the background of cast and crew, kind of especially about the journey. I mean, it's our first post on Instagram was like 2015. So yeah, definitely. I mean, we'd love to have you see most of you there. I think it'd be good to like keep everyone updated through social, which has been kind of like our big, I think, like outlet with keeping updates. People we know, people we don't know.
Cool.
All right.
Very cool. Well, let's see here. What we got? We got that. Okay, so Natalie, please stay on the line. We're gonna play out our final song, which is "Circles" by Brian Justin Crum.
We'll see you guys next week.
We'll see you guys next week, and have a great week and a great weekend. And we'll talk to you in a minute, Natalie.
Yeah, sounds good.
Maybe I should just keep running. I think I got a chance if I can get away. But yeah, we got a monsoon coming, babe. Too close to me. Don't tell me that it's nothing. With your girl in your ear all night, talking about something. Are you sure that it's her on the line? The things that are keeping me up late at night. Something about it's alright, oh. We go over and over again till we don't wanna try. Love this time will be different though. We go over and over again, we just can't get it right. One more time till we let this go. Circle.
Join us next week as Rebecca and Joe continue to battle the stigma of mental illness. Follow us on Twitter at Voices for Change RJ and on Facebook at Voices for Change 2.0.